Welcome all. We are in the topic of electromagnetic waves and today lecture is lecture number 30, and in today's lecture we are going to discuss a very important theorem of electromagnetic waves, that is Poynting theorem. So let us start. In 1874, the scientist John Poynting has discovered that when electromagnetic wave travels in a medium, it carries energy with it, or it can carry power with it. Why? Because electromagnetic wave constitutes electric field intensity and magnetic field intensity. So this means it carries voltage and ampere product, and hence we can say that it is carrying a power. So this theorem is known as Poynting theorem because of the scientist John Poynting. The statement of this theorem is as the theorem states that the cross product of electric field vector E bar and magnetic field vector, that is H bar means magnetic field intensity, at any point is a measure of the rate of flow of electromagnetic energy per unit area. So energy per unit area means energy density at that point, and it is given by P bar is equal to E bar cross H bar, where P bar is called as a Poynting vector and E bar is electric field intensity, H bar is magnetic field intensity, and we have taken the cross product of E bar and H bar to indicate Poynting vector P bar. So P bar indicates electromagnetic energy density at that point. Obviously, as there is a cross product between E bar and H bar, the direction of P bar is perpendicular to the direction of both E bar and H bar, because the cross product gives a directional vector, and that direction is perpendicular to the both the fields E bar and H bar. So all the three are mutually perpendicular to each other. So today we are going to derive the equation for this P bar vector and analyze that equation. What are the terms present in that equation? Why P bar is called as energy generating vector or power vector. And we are going to see also the equation of average power density. So let us start the derivation. So as we know that P bar is equal to E bar cross H bar, and E is measured in volts per meter, H is measured in amperes per meter, and we can say that volt multiplied by ampere divided by meter square. So it is nothing but watt per meter square. So unit of Poynting vector is watt per meter square. It indicates energy density, energy per unit area. The point to derive the Poynting vector, we can use Maxwell's equations, and probably most of the things are based on Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So we will use the first equation of that Maxwell's equation, and the first equation is del cross H bar is equal to J bar plus dou D by dou T. We have already seen this equation in Maxwell's equation chapter, where H bar is magnetic field intensity, J bar is current density, D bar is flux density, that is electric flux density, and it is derivative is there dou D by dou T. So we can use this equation. So with this equation, del cross H bar is equal to J bar plus dou D by dou T. This equation can be written in the form of J. If I want J bar to present on the left hand side, then J bar is given by J bar is equal to del cross H bar. Then I have to subtract this dou D by dou T from the del cross H bar. So it becomes J bar is equal to del cross H bar minus dou D by dou T. But what is D bar? D bar is nothing but epsilon into E bar. Electric flux density D bar is equal to epsilon into E bar, where epsilon is permittivity of the medium and E bar is what? Electric field intensity. So I can replace this D bar with epsilon into E bar. Then this equation becomes del cross H bar minus epsilon into dou E by dou t. Right? So this is the equation for J bar. Now I want to take the dot product of this J bar with E bar. Okay, I want to take the dot product of J bar with E bar. So let us take the dot product of J bar and E bar. So both sides I have to take the dot product. So then the equation becomes E bar dot J bar is equal to E bar dot del cross H bar minus E bar dot dou D by dou T. Right? So let us keep first term as it is. D E bar dot del cross H bar minus epsilon. Again I will replace this dou D by dou T by epsilon into E bar. Then it will become epsilon will be constant, so it is kept outside, and E bar is already there, and again one more E bar with respect to T was there, so it is E bar dot dou E by dou T. Now we will call this as equation number 1. E bar dot J bar is equal to E bar dot del cross H bar minus epsilon. E bar is already there, D bar is nothing but epsilon E bar, so we have put epsilon into dou E by dou T there, and we call this as equation number 1. But now we have to find out what is this term, the first term. So it is dot product of curl of H bar. So we have a vector identity as, if I take the curl of E bar and cross H bar, and then if I take the divergence of this E bar cross H bar, then what will happen? Then by vector identity I can write as del dot E bar cross H bar. This means divergence of E bar cross H bar is equal to, and what is the right hand side of this identity? First we have to take the second vector outside the bracket, so it is it is H bar dot del cross E bar. Okay, keep the second vector outside the bracket and take the curl of the first vector. So it is H bar dot del cross E bar minus, put first field, that is E bar dot del cross H bar. Okay, so this is the vector identity. Now what is our term here? It is E bar dot del cross H bar. So what is E bar dot del cross H bar from this equation, from this identity? Then I have to take this term to the left hand side. So it will become E bar dot del cross H bar is equal to H bar. Keep this as it is, H bar dot del cross E bar, and take this part onto the right hand side, minus del dot E bar cross H bar. Let us call this as equation number 2. Okay, now we can put this equation number 2 in equation number 1. Right, so what we will get? Putting equation number 2 in equation number 1, we will get E bar dot J bar. E bar dot J bar is equal to H bar dot del cross E bar, because this whole thing we have to put here. Okay, so it is H bar dot del cross E bar minus del dot E bar cross H bar minus, already there is a term epsilon into E bar dot dou E by dou T. Right, then what is next thing? Now this del cross E bar is nothing but dou B by dou T. Right, this is one more Maxwell's equation for electric field. Right, so this equation del cross E bar is nothing but dou B by minus dou B bar by dou T, where B bar is magnetic flux density, and we will keep all the term as it is and we'll write this equation once again. So E bar dot J bar is equal to H bar dot minus dou B by dou T minus del dot E bar cross H bar minus epsilon E bar dot dou E by dou T. Now we'll put B bar in terms of H bar, because all terms we need in terms of either E bar or H bar. So let us put B bar as mu into H bar. Then this will change as h bar minus mu dou h bar by dou t minus del dot e bar cross h bar minus epsilon e bar dot dou e by dou t. Right. So then what is the next thing? Now it is del h bar dot a. Then I can take this minus mu as a constant. So it is minus mu h bar dot. You have to take the dot product of h bar and dou h bar by dou t. So it is minus mu h bar dot dou h bar by dou t minus e dot dou e by dou t minus, we'll keep this as third term, del dot e bar cross h bar. Let us call this as equation number 3. Right. So what is this first term and the second term? What we can put for these two terms? This is first term and this is second term. Right. So for the first term, what is there? H bar dot dou h bar by dou t. H bar dot dou h bar by dou t. So instead of that, I can write its approximate values, and that approximate value for this is 1/2 dou h square by dou t. Okay, so h bar dot dou h bar by dou t is approximated to 1/2 dou h square by dou t. And similarly, for the second term, we can write the similar way as e bar dot dou e by dou t is equal to 1/2 dou e square by dou t. Right. So we'll call this as equation number 4. Now we can put this equation number 4 in equation number 3. And let us find out what is e bar dot j bar comes. So substituting equation number 4 in equation number 3, we get e bar dot j bar is equal to, the first term is minus sign was there, so minus mu into 1/2 dou h square by dou t. So it is written here minus mu 1/2 dou h square by dou t minus epsilon 1/2 dou e square by dou t minus the last term will kept as it is, del dot e bar cross h bar. Right. Then what is the next thing we can solve? Then it is derivative with respect to t, mu h square. We can take mu inside, keep minus sign outside, dou by dou t of mu into h square by 2. Similarly here we can write minus dou by dou t epsilon e square by 2 minus del dot e bar cross h bar. Right. Then now dou by dou t is common in both these terms. So we can take this dou d by dou t outside the bracket, with minus sign also, and then inside the bracket we'll get mu h square by 2 plus epsilon e square by 2 minus del dot e bar cross h bar, and that is whole equal to e bar dot j bar. Let us call this as equation number 5. Ultimately what we want some expression for del dot e bar cross h bar. Okay, because e bar cross h bar is nothing but our p bar pointing vector. So let us find out what we can do it. Okay, so we'll integrate both the sides because there is a derivative. So to remove this derivative, we have to integrate. So integrating both sides of equation number 5 over volume V, we get. Okay, so we are going to integrate the above equation number 5 for volume integration. So let us start. So integration of e bar dot j bar over volume multiplied by dv, that is volume, is equal to, small volume, is equal to minus dou d by dou t integration of this bracket term, that is mu h square by 2 plus epsilon e square by 2 into dv minus integration over volume del dot e bar cross h bar into dv. So I have integrated each and every term for volume integration. Okay, so what will happen next? We apply divergence theorem to the last term. Now here divergence of e bar cross h bar is there. So after applying divergence theorem, what divergence theorem states volume integration is equal to surface integration, right? So here it is volume integration of del dot something over dv, and we can convert it into surface integration. So what the divergence theorem, volume integration of del dot d bar is equal to, now I will reciprocating it, volume integration of del dot d bar is equal to surface integration of, or closed surface integration of dds was there. Remember the theorem, divergence theorem. So similar to that we are using here, and we are replacing this volume integration to surface integration. Then our E bar dot J bar will be converted as volume integration of E bar dot J bar into dV is equal to, first two terms are kept as it is equal to minus dou by dou t integration over volume mu h square by 2 plus epsilon e square by 2 into dV minus, now we have to convert this into surface, so surface integration of E bar cross H bar into ds. Okay, only for the last term we have replaced volume integration as surface integration. Now this I want, this we want, E bar cross H bar over surface area, right? So we'll take this quantity onto the left hand side, or we'll keep this as it is with minus sign, and we'll put all the things here with minus sign to the left hand side. So it will become minus surface integration of E bar cross H bar into ds is equal to volume integration of E bar dot J bar dV. This term was minus, it will become plus onto the left hand side. So it is plus dou by dou t volume integration of mu h square by 2 plus epsilon e square by 2 into dV. Right. So all things we have written now. Now again we can replace this mu h square by 2 mu h by b bar epsilon e by d bar, or we can keep this as equation as it is. Now what this equation interprets, let us see. So let us see the equation. What is the final equation? This is our final equation, because this is nothing but E cross H bar is nothing but pointer vector. So it is integration of that pointing vector over the surface. This means again the E cross H bar only, and that is nothing but P bar. So this states the pointing vector theorem, and it is given by again surface integration or negative surface integration of E bar cross H bar ds is equal to volume integration of E bar dot J bar into dV plus dou by dou t of volume integration of mu h square by 2 and epsilon e square by 2 into dV. What are the various terms that are present in this equation? So the first term itself indicates E power, because E bar cross H bar is nothing but power. Okay, and it is called as instantaneous power. So this term is nothing but ingoing power flux over surface, or it is rate of flow of energy inwards through the surface of the volume. Okay, it is ingoing power or rate of flow of energy inwards through the surface of the volume. As it is minus, then it is indicating inward flow. If it is plus, then it indicates the outward flow. Right, so this is a power flow outside or inside the volume through the surface. Then the second term, term 2, E bar dot J bar E into dV is nothing but dissipated power within the volume V at any instant, or you can say instantaneous power dissipation at any instant due to ohmic losses, because E is measured in volts per meter and J is ampere per meter square. So if a conductor is there with which is having a cross sectional area A carrying current I, and then and having a voltage drop E bar per unit length will have a power loss of E into I, watt per unit length. Right, so it is volt per meter multiplied by ampere per meter square. So it is a power dissipated per unit volume. E into I divided by J. Sorry, E into I divided by A, area. So I divided by area is nothing but J bar. So it is equal to power dissipation in watt per unit volume. Right. So, and the next term, term number 3 is rate of decrease of energy due to which is stored inside the volume V. Is rate of decrease of total electromagnetic energy within the volume V. The first term mu h square by 2 is magnetic energy, and we have seen the equations for electrical energy only. But the first term is magnetic energy, mu h square by 2. We have seen this in the chapter, electrostatic chapter, that epsilon e square by 2 is electrostatic energy. So, epsilon e square by 2 is electrical energy, mu h square by 2 is magnetic energy, and we have taken the derivative of these two energies with respect to time t. So, derivative means decrease. So, it is rate of decrease of total electromagnetic energy with respect to time which is stored inside the volume V. Right, so all terms we have analyzed. So how to represent this equation? So whatever the power present inside the volume or any system is given by as the total power taken outside the system or the volume is nothing but a rate of decrease of ohmic losses and rate of decrease of energy stored inside the volume in terms of magnetic field and in terms of electric field. If there is a resistance present, then the energy stored in terms of resistance. If there is a coil present, then the energy is stored in terms of magnetic energy. And there are some ohmic losses because of the resistance. The electrical energy is present in terms of capacitor also, because energy is required, electrical energy is required to charge the capacitor. Magnetic energy is required to allow the flow of current through the coil. So these two energies will decrease. Also, ohmic losses will be there. So net power is nothing but all the things. So power is required to charge the capacitor. Power is required to charge the coils. And because of the current flowing, because of the supply, the current is flowing, and because of that current, there are some losses. So all these together contribute towards the total output power given by that system or by that value, and that is known as E bar cross H bar or Poynting vector. So this is the interpretation of this Poynting vector. Okay, so what the Poynting vector states, again we will see the statement. The Poynting vector is product of electric field intensity and magnetic field intensity at any point is nothing but it is a measure of rate of flow of energy per unit area at that point. Okay, and that energy is because of all the three things. Right, so this is the interpretation of Poynting vector. Now let us again write down the things with this equation. So we have seen this equation as surface integration of E bar cross H bar dot ds bar. Now I have removed this minus sign and already written plus sign in terms of positive sign. So if I write like this, then it is surface integration of E bar cross H bar, closed surface integration it is. So I have to take this as a closed surface integration. So closed surface integration of E bar cross H bar dot ds bar is equal to minus dou by dou t of epsilon e square by 2 plus mu h square by 2 into dv minus E bar dot j bar into dv. Okay, E bar dot j bar into dv is there. So what is the first term indicates? At the left hand side, the first term indicates as surface integration of E bar cross H bar. It represents the rate of outward flow. Now as the sign is plus, we can say as outward flow. It represents the rate of outward flow of energy from a volume V which is closed by surface ds, and the integral is over the closed surface S surrounding the volume. The first term at the RHS, this term indicates, that is minus dou by dou t of mu h square plus epsilon h square into dv. It is the energy that is flowing out of the region, and there must be a corresponding decrease of electromagnetic energy. So here the negative sign indicates the decrease of energy of which is stored in terms of electromagnetic energy, and it is sum of electric energy and magnetic energy. Okay, and the next last term of RHS side, E dot H bar into dV. Okay, and it is having minus sign, so it is total ohmic power dissipated inside the volume. Ohmic power, why? Because this J is having ohmic losses because it is current divided by area, and because of that current flowing through the resistances, there are some losses in terms of heat or any other things, ED losses like that. So this E bar dot H J bar into dV represents ohmic power losses within the volume. Okay, so from the law of conservation of energy, this equation can be written as, in terms of words, we can write this equation as rate of energy dissipation in volume, that is E bar dot J bar, is equal to rate at which stored energy inside the stored electromagnetic energy is decreasing inside the volume plus inward rate of flow of energy through the volume through the surface of the volume, and this inward rate of flow of energy is nothing but Poynting vector. Okay, using Poynting vector we can find instantaneous power flow per square meter area. Using this equation, P bar is equal to E bar cross H bar, where E bar is equal to EX AX cap, and if I consider H bar is equal to HY AY cap, because E bar and H bar in an electromagnetic wave are perpendicular to each other. So if E is having X component, H must have Y component, right? So EX AX cap cross HY AY cap, and because of the cross product, the direction of P bar is nothing but direction Z. So the power will flow in the Z direction where the electromagnetic wave is propagating, right? So now let us express this EX AX cap as in terms of equation, because EX is electric field and that can be expressed as EX naught cos of omega t minus beta Z into AX cap cross. So this is the electric field vector. Omega is the angular frequency, beta is phase constant, Z is the direction of propagation. So we can write E bar in terms of this equation. Ex naught is initial amplitude, like that. Okay, so multiplied by, that is cross, Hy is nothing but, we can write E divided by eta or Ey divided by eta. Right, so it is Ey is nothing but Ey naught cos of omega t minus beta Z Ay cap divided by eta. That is nothing but Hy Ay. Why? Because E bar is nothing but H bar divided by eta. Right, so it is a cross product of Ax component and Ay component with Ex naught and Ey naught upon eta. Right, so now as this is a vector P bar can be represented in complex terms because it contains omega t term and H can be considered as a complex. So if I want to find out average power, then P average is given by half of real part of E cross H complex. P average is given by half of real part of E cross H bar complex. Because both E bar field and H bar field are having imaginary terms. Out of that only we will consider H as a complex vector. right? So total P vector is having real part as well as imaginary part. Cos of omega t will be there because see, equation of E is also given by ex naught e raised to minus gamma x into cos of omega t minus beta z into x cap when it is traveling in some lossy medium. So in terms of e raised to j something, we can also express this e bar and h bar components. So this means there is imaginary terms. So we can consider this imaginary part and real part for power also. So P average is given by 1/2 real part of E cross H bar. Okay, if E bar and H bar are expressed in terms of complex quantities. So if they are real part of that equation is taken, then it is average power. Imaginary part of that expression is taken, then it is reactive power. Okay, so we can write this expression P average and P reactive in watt per meter square using the Poynting vector. And third quantity, third equation, we can write average power flowing through any area is given by P average is equal to E naught square divided by 2 times eta. E naught square divided by 2 times eta, where E naught is the initial maximum amplitude of electric field intensity and eta is nothing but intrinsic impedance. Why E naught square? Because it is E naught into H naught was there. But instead of H naught, we have written E naught divided by eta. So E naught into E naught divided by eta has become E naught square divided by eta. And if I want to find out average, then I have to integrate that equation over time period t. So instead of that, on an average, we can write E naught square divided by 2 times eta n. And this E cross H gives the density. It is power per unit area. So if I want only power in watts, then I have to multiply it by area S. So average power is given by E naught square upon 2 eta into S. S is area in meter square. So with this, using this equation, we can solve one or two examples on Poynting theorem. We can find instantaneous power using E bar cross H bar. We can find average power using E naught square divided by 2 eta into S. Eta may be given or mu and epsilon values are given. If the medium is dielectric or air, then you can use eta is equal to mu naught square root of mu naught upon epsilon naught. If it is lossy medium, then we can use eta is equal to under square root j omega mu divided by sigma plus j omega epsilon. Right? So in that way, we can find out eta and then we can find out P average. We can solve one example. We can solve one example based on the Poynting vector. So the example is a plane wave has electric field intensity E bar with E naught cos of omega t minus beta z ay cap. And E naught is 1000 volts per meter with a frequency of f is equal to 300 megahertz. For its propagation in free space, calculate Poynting vector, that is P bar, and instantaneous and time average power densities. So to solve this, first we have to find out the Poynting vector, and the Poynting vector is given by P bar is equal to E bar cross H bar. What is E bar? E bar is given to you E naught cos of omega t minus beta z. H bar is it can be calculated as E naught divided by eta cos of omega t minus beta z. Okay, H bar we can write as E naught upon eta, or you can say eta naught because it is air, cos of omega t minus beta z. And eta naught is nothing but it is intrinsic impedance for air. It is square root of mu naught upon epsilon naught. I think its value is 377 ohms. and then we can find h bar. Then take the cross product of e bar cross h bar. Now, as e is having a y component, let us consider that h is having ax component. Or you can consider a z component. And let us consider that the wave is traveling in, no, the wave is traveling in z direction. So obviously h must have x component, right? Or we have to calculate then p bar is equal to e bar cross h bar. Then to find instantaneous and time average power densities, we have already have equations. So instantaneous power density means this p vector itself in watt per meter square. And time average power density means this E naught square divided by 2 eta into S. So E naught or E naught square upon 2 eta just in terms of watt per meter square. If S is not there, then it is in watt per meter square. So E naught is already given to you 1000 volt per meter. So 1000 square divided by 2 times eta will give us average power density. And vector P bar itself will give us instantaneous power density after multiplication of their magnitudes. Okay, in this way we can solve this example. So try this example. Thank you all.